Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new to this channel, let me introduce myself. I am Janita and I'm a pathology resident. This is gonna be a sit and talk kind of video where I'll actually talk about how a casual day looks in the life of a pathology resident and what's actually happening behind the scenes. So if you are interested, keep watching till the end. Have you ever wondered who gives disease its name? It's not the doctor you meet in the OPD. It's not the surgeon you see in the OTs. It's doctor sitting quietly behind a microscope. Hi, I am a pathology resident and today I want to tell you a story. Not about a patient, not about a disease, but about a life that exists behind the laboratory doors. Every morning begins the same way with a cup of tea, a white coat, and a list of samples waiting to be examined. By the time most people start their day, hundreds of tissue, samples, and slides have already arrived, each with a question and each waiting for an answer. People often ask me, why pathology? And it's a fair question as well. After all, we don't spend our days in wards. We don't perform dramatic surgeries, and many patients never even know our names. But here's what I've learned. Pathology is not the absence of patients, it is the presence of answers. Every biopsy tells a story. A mother waiting for her report, a father hoping a tumor is benign, a young adult wondering why their body is constantly changing, and somewhere in between this fear and future lies a microscopic slide. A microscope is a strange thing. To most people, it's just a machine, but to me, it's a window into the world invisible to the naked eye, a world where cells reveal secrets, where tissues tell stories, and where diseases leaves clue. Sometimes I spend hours looking at a single slide, not because I am slow, but because details matter. A tiny cluster of cell, a subtle change in architecture, a feature that could completely change a diagnosis and sometimes could change a life too. Nobody talks about the certainty it brings with it, the fear of missing something important, the responsibility of writing a report, the moment you realize that a single line you type may become one of the most important sentences that a family ever reads. There are days when the diagnosis is straightforward, and there are days when every slide becomes like a puzzle. Days when many textbooks cover your desk, when articles remain open on multiple screens, when you ask your seniors for their opinion, and then you ask yourself again, did I miss something? Residency is a funny way of humbling you. Every time you think you have learned enough, it introduces you to something new, something rare, something unexpected, something that reminds you how vast medicine truly is. And then there are days of long nights, the endless studying, the exams, the presentations, the practicals, the self-doubt, and the exhaustion. The constant feeling that there is so much still more to learn. But despite all of that, I genuinely love pathology because every slide is a mystery and every diagnosis is a story waiting to be understood. You see, I didn't choose pathology because it was easy. I chose it because I was fascinated by the stories hidden behind a cell. Stories of injury, stories of healing, stories of survival, stories of disease, and sometimes stories of hope. If you are a medical student watching this, wondering whether pathology is for you, let me tell you this. You are not learning to memorize disease. You are learning a language of cells, a language of tissues, the language of disease itself. And with every passing day, you will become a little more fluent. One day, patterns that confused you will become obvious. One day, you'll pick up a slide and instantly recognize what you once struggled to understand. One day, you will look back and realize how far you have come. Because behind every accurate diagnosis, there is a pathologist. And behind every pathologist, there is a resident who spent years learning how to see what others cannot. So today, this video is dedicated to every pathology resident studying late into the nights, to every resident doubting themselves, to every resident staring down a microscope and wondering if they are good enough. You are. Keep learning, keep looking, keep questioning. Because while the world may never see your face, it will always benefit from your work. I am a pathology resident and this is the story behind the microscope. Thank you for listening. I would like to dedicate a few lines for all the pathology residents out there. ना वो ऑपरेशन थिएटर में नज़र आता है, ना वार्ड में, ना राउंड्स में, फिर भी हर डायग्नोसिस में उसका योगदान होता है। सफ़ेद कोट के पीछे एक आँख होती है जो माइक्रोस्कोपिक सच देख लेती है, एक दिमाग होता है जो पैटर्न्स को पहचान लेता है, और एक दिल होता है जो हर रिपोर्ट के साथ एक जिम्मेदारी महसूस करता है। मैं हूँ एक पैथोलॉजी रेसिडेंट और ये है मेरी कहानी, आपकी अपनी पैथोलॉजी रेसिडेंट। थैंक यू।